My name is Meg Richards, and I am currently a long-term sub here at Lakeside Elementary in the third grade. I teach the science curriculum in the afternoons, and in the mornings, I have a much different hat that I wear. I'm a paraeducator in a kindergarten classroom. So I get that full range of experiences in one day. I am full-time this year, but prior to that, for the past 13 years, I've been at home with my family, raising my kids. I got my start in teaching in a northern suburb of Chicago called Buffalo Grove. I taught at a 5-6 building, where I was first in the 6th grade on a team where I taught social studies and language arts and reading. My second year teaching, I was in a 5th grade classroom, a self-contained classroom, so I taught all the content areas. I had my own classroom, and I feel like that's when I got my real start at finding my identity as a teacher through my classroom routines, classroom structure, and how I was able to find that identity of teacher, but also somebody who was able to learn to get to know my kids and parents at the same time and invest in a school community. The community where I taught was very much like the one here in East, and I feel ultimately that that's what drew me to it, because I did grow up here in East, and I grew up with those traditions of excellence in education, strong on community, kids growing up feeling, for me especially, growing up feeling so nurtured and safe and able to go out into the world and expand those horizons, but do so in a way where I felt like I really knew who I was and I was rooted in something. And so what ended up happening was my husband and I, just as we started to raise a family, decided to leave Chicago and come to Grand Rapids. And we ended up moving to East Grand Rapids when we had our first, and I did spend all of those years, obviously, at home with my kids, but I was very, and continue to be, very active at my church as a youth leader, working with high school youth, and also just in the last several years being a volunteer at Lakeside. And as my children have gotten older and been more active in school, I've had more freedom to become more involved here. And whether it be working in the office or on the playground or just volunteering in the classroom, I've stayed active and present and found in myself that is ultimately what I wanted, was to get back to teaching. I didn't know in those early years of raising kids if that's what I wanted to go back to, but the more time I've spent here at Lakeside, the more convinced I become. And certainly in this role that I've had recently, it's just reaffirmed all those things in me of my gifts and my talents, and that this is where they intersect with having a purpose outside of being a mom. So that is why I want to be here. I am trained as a teacher, but it's also just my passion and my heart, and I am very committed to the things that this community is committed to, because I'm raising my children here, and I would like to be able to invest in ways that I was invested in growing up. As for my favorite book, that's kind of an easy one, because we have a favorite one at home called The Gift of Nothing that I read with my kids, and it's just about a gift that one friend gives to another when they can't think what to give to them, because this friend has everything. And what do you give when a friend has everything? And it's sort of lighthearted, but it works with these themes of needs versus wants. And certainly for me, raising my children in this community, it's something we talk about a lot, how much we have available to us and how much we're grateful for, but knowing that the gift of time is what is ultimately most important. So the gift that this little animal in the book gives to the other is the gift of nothing, but it's a gift of time that they spend with each other. So in a classroom setting, I would see using this as a piece to talk about friendships. Like in our classroom circle that we have here at the end of every day, we would use it as a friendship building piece and how to navigate having different types of friends, but placing value on the time spent with those friends over anything else. And so that's why that's my favorite book. As for the gifts that I bring and why I feel that I am the most qualified, I feel that the experiences I'm having now are really of the most value. I am a qualified teacher, and I have great passion and heart for relationship building, especially with parents and staff. But I seek to develop those relationships with my students first as a means to really differentiate my learning, or their learning, and my instruction. But the way I reach them is through establishing relationships. And when it comes to not just the kids and the parents, it's about confidentiality, it's about trust, and it's about investing in their interests. And from there, I, alongside that, also have a very strong and very high expectations, but a strong sense of classroom structure and routine. And I feel like that's how I best reach my students, is through not just having that trust, but being effective in the sense that they feel safe here, they feel comfortable, and they know who they are, and that they are at their best when they have that sense of routine. So I feel like my experiences here now are a great value, but they've also ignited me ignited in me that love for learning and wanting to be back in the classroom.